Hi, I'm Aristotelis Pitaridis. In this video, we are going to see the structure of an ASP.NET MVC project. The Hello World project that we created in the last video consists of a lot of files and folders. Let's see what is the use of each of these items in our project. The first folder in the project is the App Data folder, which may contain application data files including MDF database files, XML files, and other data store files. The App Start folder contains classes which are used by global.ajax file in order to initialize the application. In the Content folder, we can find 3 CSS files. We can add our own CSS files that we may create in the future. The Controllers folder contains the application's controllers. Let's see the homecontroller.cs file so that we will understand how the controller is structured in an ASP.NET MVC application. A controller contains actions which are used by the application for preparing the data in order to be viewed by the views of the application. The home controller contains 3 actions which act as different pages in our application. The actions are index, about, and contact. Let's debug the application to see in action the 3 pages. We can see in the menu bar that the 3 options Home, About, and Contact represent the 3 actions of the home controller. We can click on each of these options to see what happens. Let's go back to the controller. All the controllers at the end of the code block call the view function, which asks the framework to generate the HTML which will be sent to the browser. The actions About and Contact change the contents of the viewBack variable called message. The contents of this variable can be used by the view in order to display dynamic data that the controller has prepared. The way to achieve communication between controller and views will be explained later. The next folder is called Fonts. In this folder there are fonts which are used by Bootstrap. Bootstrap is a library which allows the web developer to easily create responsive web pages. It is based on jQuery library. The 4 files that we can find in this folder are font files. They contain the same set of characters, but each of these files use a different format for storing the fonts, which will allow different browsers to find the font format that it supports so that the web application will be able to display the formatted contents properly. The folder Models is used to store the models of the application. Right now, there are 2 classes which are used in order to define the models for the authentication system, which was part of the template that we selected in order to create the project. The folder scripts contain all the JavaScript files which are used by the application. The template has included some of the most useful JavaScript libraries which are available for the web developers like jQuery and Bootstrap. Of course, we can add our own JavaScript files in this folder. The last folder of the project is called Views, which contains all the views of the application. All the views are organized in folders. These folders have the name of the controller with which they have been associated. In the Home folder, we can see the 3 views that the template created for us, which are used by the 3 actions that we saw earlier in the Home controller. In the Views folder, there is a special folder called Shared, where we can add all the views which are used by all the controllers. We start the name of all the shared views with the underscore character so that we will be able to recognize them. In this folder, we can create layouts which are used in order to store the HTML template of a website. We can have multiple layouts in our project so that we will use a different layout depending on the page that we display each time. In this folder, we can also create partial views which allow us to create reusable views so that we will not write again and again HTML code which exists in multiple places around the project. For both layouts and partial views, we are going to talk in another video. There is also a special view which has the name underscore view start, which is used to write code that we want to execute in all views of the project. For example, in this file, we can set the default layout that the application will use. In the root folder of the project, there are also some files. The first is the fabicon.ico, which will be used by the browser in order to display it in front of the address of the page that we see. The global AJAX file is used to control the application. We have events that fire, for example, when the application starts, or an error occurs, or a new request starts for our project. The package.config contains information about the packages that we have installed in our application. It also contains extra information for each package, like what is the version of the library and what is the target .NET framework that it can work with. The project README HTML file contains information about the project with very useful links. The file is in HTML format. In order to see its contents, we have to use a web browser. If we want to view it inside Visual Studio, we can right-click on it and select the command View in Page Inspector.